Hi there, my name is Rob Onken. As an avid user of PowerPoint, I wanted to create a tutorial that shows users how to utilize some of the lesser known features of PowerPoint, including how to use the Morph transition feature to create some cool animation effects. We're going to create a slideshow that shows the inside of the White House. Let's get started. Here I have my slide preset with an image of the White House, some text, and some objects that are filled with images to emulate my carousel effect. Now, in order to use the Morph transition to animate objects, I'm going to need to have two slides because it is a transition. And all I need to do for simple animations is to place on the new slide where I want that object to be. So I'm going to start by moving the White House over until it aligns to the right edge of my stage on my slide. I'm also going to add an effect. So I'm going to select the image, go to Picture Format, Color, and give it this kind of grayed out, washed out effect. Then I also want to transition my text on screen. And so I'm going to select it and move it into place. And as I do so, I'm going to hold the Shift key, which locks it horizontally so it doesn't slide out from where I want it to be, because I just want it to animate straight down. That looks like a good spot. And then last but not least, I'm going to take all of these objects and I'm going to move them also onto the stage. And again, I'm going to hold that Shift key to lock them into place, right about there. Great, now I need to add that transition. So I'm going to select the second slide, go to Transitions, and select Morph. You could already see the preview as we applied that transition. I'm going to change that duration just a bit. We'll knock it down to 150. We can preview that again. All right, everything's looking great. Now with simple animations, I didn't need to give specific names to my objects, but for my carousel effect, I want to tell the morphing transition the specific objects that I want to animate as I create my next slides. So I'm going to give each of these objects a unique name that starts with an exclamation point. And to do that, I'm going to open the selection panel. So I'm going to go back to the Home tab, and from the Editing pane, select Selection pane, and now I can give each of these objects a unique name. So you see that based on the picture of what it is, I've given a unique name with a double exclamation point. Now I can simply copy and paste this slide again. And now for my carousel effect, I'm going to take this image and move it up here where this image is located, and also shrink it down so that it matches the size of the image up here. I'm also going to decolor this photo, and then we'll kind of repeat that process with the next object. We'll add color while moving it into position and also expanding it so it has a nice smooth transition between each one. Now to make this process a little bit easier, I'm going to right click on an image and select Format Picture. That's going to open up that pane for me, and I'm going to open up the Size and Position panel. So I'm going to select my first image, and I'm going to select Size and Position again. Note that height, width, as well as the position coordinates, and I can apply those numbers to this next image. Great. Now I can move the original image up into that position to animate that out, and I can add that color effect to this image. Now I can go to the previous slide to get the size position coordinates again, 6.67 and 1.75. And again, I can adjust that size. Now we're going to go back to Picture Format, and we're going to remove the color effect and move my final image into place. And now let's preview this transition, the Morph transition to the next slide, and see what that looks like. Perfect. You can kind of see how that carousel effect is already shaping up. I'm just going to repeat that same process for the last set of images to finalize that carousel. All right, now that I've got all my effects applied, let's check that preview one last time. Now you've seen how to use PowerPoint's Morph transition to create a smooth, vertical picture carousel. This technique is a great way to showcase images or design elements with a professional animated look. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and can apply it in one of your own presentations.